Welcome back to the VantexGEO podcast, the show where we decode the future of search. I'm Sarah, and today we are tackling the biggest black box in digital marketing. For 20 years, we've been obsessed with keywords. We stuffed them into titles, headers, and meta tags, hoping to rank on a list of 10 blue links. But today, the machines that answer our questions, from Google's AI overviews to ChatGPT, don't care about your keywords. They care about your identity. Here to explain what changed and how these machines actually think is Shane, founder of VantexGEO. Shane, welcome back.
Thanks, Sarah. It's good to be here. You're absolutely right. The era of tricking an algorithm with keyword density is over. We are now in the era of educating an AI about facts.
So let's start with the central nervous system of this whole thing. We hear the term knowledge graph thrown around a lot. In plain English, what is it?
The simplest way to think of a knowledge graph is like a giant, infinitely complex mind map. Before the knowledge graph, Google was essentially a very fast librarian. You would ask for a book on running shoes, and it would sprint down the aisles, look for covers with those exact words, and bring you a stack. It didn't know what a shoe was, it just matched the text strings. A knowledge graph changes that. It's a database that understands real-world objects and the relationships between them. It knows that Nike is a company, that it sells products called running shoes, and that it was founded by people named Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman. It doesn't just see words, it sees a web of connections.
Okay, so it's moving from matching text to understanding context.
Exactly. It's the difference between a messy pile of documents and a perfectly organized filing cabinet where every folder is cross-referenced.
This brings us to a phrase you use a lot in your articles, the shift from strings to things. Can you give us a real-life example of what that means for a business?
Sure. This is the fundamental concept of modern search. Let's take the word Jaguar. In the old strings world, if you searched for that, Google had a problem. Are you looking for the luxury car manufacturer, the animal in the jungle, or maybe the Fender guitar model? The string of text Jaguar is ambiguous. In the things world, the knowledge graph has a unique ID for each of those concepts. The car company has one ID. The animal has a totally different ID. When a user asks, "How fast is a Jaguar?" the AI looks at the context. If you were just reading about safaris, it maps the query to the animal entity. If you were comparing sports cars, it maps it to the car entity.
So for a business listening right now, the takeaway is that Google doesn't need to just find your company name text on a page. It needs to understand your company as a distinct thing in its database.
Precisely. You need to graduate from being a string of text to being a recognized entity with a unique ID. Until you do that, you are just noise in the index.
And what happens if you don't graduate? You've coined the term ghost entity. What does that mean, and what's the danger?
A ghost entity is a business that exists in the real world. It has a website, customers, maybe even a physical office, but it does not exist in the knowledge graph. To the AI, it's a ghost. It can see the website, but it doesn't understand what it is or who it belongs to. The immediate danger here is invisibility. If I ask ChatGPT, who are the top geo consultants in Singapore, and VantexGEO isn't in its graph, it simply won't mention us. It can only recommend what it knows.
That sounds bad enough, but it gets worse, doesn't it? I know you've written extensively about AI hallucination. How does being a ghost entity lead to that?
This is the critical part. Generative AI models are designed to be helpful. If you ask it a specific question about a brand that isn't in its knowledge graph, they don't like to say, "I don't know." Instead, the AI tries to predict the best possible answer based on patterns in its training data. It might look at your competitors or generic industry data and mesh it together to give you an answer.
So it guesses.
It guesses, and that's a hallucination. It might confidently tell a potential customer that your B2B software company also sells used cars just because it saw those concepts loosely related in some obscure form.
That's a terrifying prospect for any brand manager. It sounds like the only defense is a good offense. You have to proactively feed the graph.
That's it. GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, is ultimately about control. It's about taking control of your brand's narrative in the AI age by feeding it structured, verified facts that it cannot misinterpret. You have to tell Google, here is our official logo. Here are our C-level executives. Here are the exact services we provide, and here is who we serve. You do that through schema markup and establishing authority across the web.
Shane, this has been incredible. For anyone listening who is suddenly worried they might be a ghost entity, what's the first step?
The first step is to know where you stand. We have a free entity audit on our homepage at VantexGEO.com. You just put in your brand name, and we run a check against the major knowledge graphs to see if you are verified or invisible. It takes about 2 minutes.
Fantastic. We'll link to that audit tool and the Fixing Hallucinations blog post in the show notes. Shane, thanks again for opening up the black box for us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for listening. Stop optimizing for strings and start building your thing. We'll see you in the next episode.